You helped them. Not a little, seriously. Time, money, attention, or just the kind of presence that costs something. And for a while, it felt like it mattered. Then something shifted. The warmth cooled, the messages slowed, and then, not distance, but something sharper. A comment with edges. A version of events where you, somehow, became the problem. You've replayed it 40 times since. You know you didn't do anything wrong, but some part of you keeps circling back. Maybe I helped too much. Maybe I made them feel small. Maybe this is somehow my fault. Friedrich Nietzsche had a word for what happened. We're not here to diagnose anyone. We're here to look honestly at a mechanism that's been running in human psychology for centuries, and why it tends to hit hardest the people who pay the closest attention. Nietzsche introduced the concept of ressentiment, a French word he used deliberately, to describe a very specific psychological state. It's not anger, it's not sadness. It's the accumulated inner experience of someone who feels powerless and who begins to secretly reframe the source of their pain as the source of their inferiority. The person who helped you didn't just help you. In the economy of the psyche, they witnessed your need. And for certain people, people with a fragile sense of inner authority, a witness to their weakness becomes, over time, unbearable. Nietzsche observed this in 19th century European culture. Resentment repackaged as moral superiority. The powerless couldn't defeat the strong, so they redefined strength as cruelty and weakness as virtue. The same mechanism runs in intimate relationships. You didn't become the villain because you failed them. You became the villain because you saw them, and they couldn't forgive you for it. And when you zoom in on how this actually unfolds, it moves in 3 very recognizable stages. Let's name them, because if you've lived through this, you'll recognize each one. The first is ego debt. When someone receives significant help, emotional, financial, practical, something registers in the psyche that isn't gratitude. It's a ledger. And the balance says, I owe this person something I may not be able to repay. For a healthy ego, that's uncomfortable but manageable. For a fragile one, it's a continuous, low-grade alarm. Every time they see you, the alarm goes off. I remember helping a friend through a hard stretch, being the person they called at midnight, the one who showed up, and noticing months later that their texts had gone from long to one word. I thought they were just busy. They weren't busy. And here's where it gets strange. The second stage is rewriting the story. The mind is extraordinarily good at protecting itself. Gradually, the narrative shifts. Your help is reframed as control. Your availability becomes intrusion. Your generosity becomes a power move. They're not lying exactly. The unconscious doesn't lie. It edits. And what gets edited out is their own vulnerability, replaced with your supposed agenda. The third stage is the exit through attack. The cleanest way to escape a debt you can't repay is to invalidate the creditor. If you can believe, genuinely believe, that the person who helped you was actually hurting you all along, the ledger disappears. The debt is canceled, and the guilt that came with it. This is why the betrayal often comes without warning, without a proportionate cause, and with a certainty that disturbs you. It's not cruelty, it's desperation. A fragile ego doing the only thing it knows how to do when the alternative is sitting with shame. Nietzsche's answer to ressentiment wasn't to stop helping. It was to change what helping means. He distinguished between giving that comes from overflow, from genuine strength, and giving that secretly requires the other person to remain in need. The first kind doesn't create debt, because it doesn't need repayment. The second kind creates exactly the trap we've been describing. The hard question isn't whether you helped too much. It's whether some part of your helping needed them to stay the person you helped. This isn't about blame. It's about precision. You can't control how someone metabolizes your care, but you can offer it without making their transformation your emotional territory. Which brings us to the only thing worth carrying out of this. You didn't love them wrong. You loved them completely. And for someone who couldn't hold that without feeling diminished, completeness was the problem. The question worth sitting with, not solving, just holding. What would it change if you knew clearly that their turning away had nothing to do with how well you loved them, and everything to do with what they couldn't yet carry.